All right, so a lot of you asked me to write, not write, but make videos showing you antique dolls. So this particular one is actually quite cool. This was actually a doll that you don't find very often. Now, when I found it on eBay, the seller didn't say much about it, didn't even mention a mark, and immediately my first thought was this is probably a Kessner, a German doll, probably circa 1890, or a Simon and Halbig German doll around the same time. But I was very surprised when she arrived. Now, when she arrived, she had the number 478 on the back of her head with some kind of weird acrylic type of marking. And I was like, I've never seen that before. And now I made a video about this doll about 2 years ago and put it on YouTube, but I only had probably like 5 or 10 subscribers at the time, so nobody's seen it. So pretty much, I found out that this doll was actually made by a company by the name of Szrajer and Fingerhut. And I'm like, what the hell is Szrajer and Fingerhut? And okay, so we're going to find out. So again, for all you doll collectors out there, antique doll collectors that is, most of you would take one look at this beautiful little face and say, oh, she looks like maybe a Kessner, a German Kessner, or a Simon and Halbig doll. But no, she's definitely not. And she's actually quite rare because most of these antique Bisque head dolls were all made in France or Germany. But you never find one that's Russian. Yes, that's right, Russian slash Polish. So now I found out that this company was Russian and Polish. But how could it be Russian and Polish? So this doll actually was made in a small town by the name of Kalisz, Kalish, which is a small town in Poland. And at different times of the 19th century, this town was the territory of the Kingdom of Poland and also the Empire of Russia. And you might be like, what? And yeah, so at different times, this doll was Polish, and at different times, this doll was actually Russian. And you might be like, that's odd. And so therefore, this doll basically has a Polish-Russian origin and is not that commonly found. Okay, so this factory was launched and manufactured in the late 19th century. So this doll is probably circa 1880s, 1890s. And in the 1870s, its founder, Jacob Fingerhut, was a manager at a puppet factory where he met a guy by the name of Adam Szrajer. And they got together and they established the Szrajer and Fingerhut factory. And that was in 1884. So, yeah, basically, so this doll actually could have been made anywhere between 1884 to about the 1890s. Now, they rented out, I guess, part of a factory where many of the businesses that had 3 floors were in the same factory building. And so they only had a small part of the factory to use to make dolls, which is quite interesting. And so there was different parts of this factory that had printing workshops in it, lathers, milling, machinery. And so the small area that they had was organized for just making plush toys and dolls. Now, they started out making dolls with special biscuit porcelain, otherwise as we know now as Bisque porcelain, so that the face is Bisque porcelain, and very, very nicely done. And so they all came with blinking glass eyes, which are known as sleep eyes. They came with bodies made out of wood and paper mache that were articulated, so you can move them around. And they also had hair that was made out of mohair or human hair. This particular one appears to be mohair and is original to her. And they also hired masters to sew outfits for them. Now, later on, this company actually was well into I think the 30s and the 40s, and they were making celluloid dolls at the time, but they started out making Bisque dolls. Now, what's fabulous about this doll is the fact that she's all original. Most dolls you will find are there's always a problem with these antique dolls. Either they're missing their original wigs, they're actually redressed in like lousy 1970s polyester dresses, they don't have their original hats or shoes or stockings or clothing, but this doll is actually completely all original. And let's go over her costume and find out why it's actually even more spectacular to have a doll like this in your collection. So not only is she rare because she's Polish and Russian, and by the way, look how beautifully, beautifully painted her face was. Let's look very closely. You can see you can see they did a very good job, and it's very, very reminiscent of Kessner dolls and Simon and Halbig dolls. Now the cool part, she has her original wig, which looks like it's made out of mohair, and she has her original ethnic costume. Now, the ethnic costume is actually, I don't know where it's from, where it's portrayed to be from, or what ethnicity, but these were actually teaching aids. So a teacher would actually buy a doll fully clothed in these ethnic costumes to show to the students in their class, to show them what other children wore from different countries around the world. So I don't know where this is from. If you know, write it in the comments below. It could be a Russian peasant, maybe an Italian peasant, perhaps Dutch or French or something like that. Have no clue. But what's really great is this costume was all handmade to scale to the original ethnic costume of the country of origin. So we have these, let's go under the dress here. We have these original socks. Look at that. With these leather, almost like clog-like shoes that go up her stockings. Maybe she's Greek. And we have original pantaloons and original slip right there. Again, we have this, look at this. This is really great. This is all handmade. So she's got this little apron and mustard colored dress with this little ribbon trim here. I don't know, what is this made out of? It looks like it's velvet. Then over here we have this crisscross type of laced up type of thing around her waist. Over here we have bows on both sides of the shoulder with this little lace trim going here. Her arms are articulated, made out of jointed or ball jointed composition. Let's turn the doll around. Now we see this this sort of like cloth on the top of her head. Her hair is up with pins. And then we're going to go down here. We're going to check this out. Look at this. Wow. Okay, so this is the profile. That's actually quite cool. Let me completely turn the doll around. And now we're going to look at the back of this costume. And you can see this is really like peasant garb. We got this green sash going around the waist. Again, this mustard colored dress. Over here we got this crisscross pattern with the bows that go on the shoulder. And this headdress. I don't know what country of origin this is. If you know, let me know in the comments below. Now, this was a teaching aid again. So they made boy dolls like this in ethnic costume and little girl dolls like this in ethnic costume. And so this doll, actually, you will not find Szrajer and Fingerhut dolls very often. Most of them are actually found in Russia and Poland. You don't really find them anywhere else. So for the fact that I got one of these dolls in my collection is really quite a treasure. Now, value. These actually sell quite high, even in this little cabinet size. So for a doll like this, especially an all original garb or ethnic costume or what they call regional outfit, I would guesstimate that this doll would be worth about $500 to $675. If it was a bigger doll, now the bigger, the more expensive they are, probably about $800 to $1,000. Now that is retail price. On eBay, it would be a way different story. But cabinet dolls actually hold their value as well. A cabinet sized doll that would fit easily into your cabinet is actually highly collectible with collectors today who are running out of room because they have so many dolls in their collection. It's hard to display them all, especially behind glass. So a cabinet-sized doll is very desirable. So I hope you learned something again. Circa 1885 and up to about 1890. Polish, sort of Russian, Russian, sort of Polish. I don't know. You tell me. Is she more Polish or is she more Russian? Thanks for watching. See you guys all soon, and so long.